Fallen on Hamburg, and Night has definitely fallen on our second series of the day. We're tied up at 1-1 right now between two old giants. It wasn't quite TI7 game one, and we didn't quite need sleeping bags, but my God, was it a good game. 75 kills in a 60-minute game, a 33,000 net swing between the two, and we are tied up at 1-1. Back at the desk with Blitz and Cap. Cap, got to enjoy those kind of games. Is that another one that goes in the classic VP versus Liquid annals of history?
Okay, if you wanted to, sure. Classic VP versus Liquid. I wouldn't say it's a classic of all Dota 2 games.
But between these two teams, another big slug.
Yeah, it was an interesting game. I think it was a fun one to watch. It was really back and forth. And I'm really excited that we just get to see a game 3 between these two teams. Because I personally look at this matchup and I can easily see this being the grand finals. So
yeah, always fun. What do you make of it? Do you feel like, and I don't want to do a disservice to Liquid, because they did a great comeback and they won the game, but do you feel like VP should have won that?
Yeah, I think VP should have won that. I think more importantly, they had multiple ways to win that, and probably a lot of opportunities. Like if they were able to take one of those like tactical pauses that they had at the other tournaments, like they'd be able to calm down and say like, guys, this is what we need to do. But in Dota, oftentimes you don't get that moment to relax, and so you just continue to play. And they started throwing bodies and dying repeatedly after they had gotten that kind of lead. And I mean, it wasn't pretty, but
I just feel like sometimes when these two clash, it's a bit like a couple of big old heavyweight boxers just like slugging it out in the 15th round again.
No one's blocking.
Yeah, no one's blocking. They're just like throwing lefts and rights, and they're just throwing each other. And that bottom lane felt a bit like that, didn't it? When they pushed that bottom lane in, you kind of go, okay, you've got an 18,000 net lead. You've got the bottom racks. This is game, surely.
Yeah, and games in Dota, especially in best of threes, when you have teams that are this close in skill, it never looks pretty. It's always going to be these kinds of slop fests where one or two plays are going to determine the course of how the game goes. And I mean, we saw that multiple times. Like Miracle would just kind of bait his team into going into like these crazy engagements, but then VP would do the same thing, and Ramses would run in by himself, get picked off. For some reason, like Kuro had like the best Wyvern game I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't think he got jumped on once. He had a Bloodthorn at some point, whereas Solo, the other 5 position on the enemy team, like he was hoping at some point to get a Ghost Scepter.
Yeah, God, Liquid just, they zoned in on Solo so damn hard, and he couldn't get anything. In any of these team fights, he was just being destroyed, and you did not feel the same pressure on that Winter Wyvern, for sure. A lot of that is, like, there's a bit better initiation, but there's still definitely better points for Virtus.pro where they could have put more pressure on that Wyvern. He had such big impact on some of these team fights, especially the mid-game ones where VP was so far ahead.
Yeah, I mean, a terrific comeback as well. I mean, Liquid had to really hold on to that game, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and it also makes things kind of interesting when it comes to the draft as well. That's something that we got to bring up, right? The Broodmother, the 1-2. There was a point, like maybe 15 minutes in this game, where Blitz looks at me and he's like, "Is Broodmother just OP?" And I was like, I don't know, he's pretty sick. Like, Broodmother is just a really strong hero, and we saw it play out there, right? This Broodmother has been buffed time and time again. This ultimate has gotten so much love that now, it's level 16, it's like plus 120 damage on 120% lifesteal or something like that. I might be off on the numbers a little bit, but it's something insanely high. And you saw in so many of these situations, he was able to challenge the Alchemist, who had like maybe 15k net worth over him, and it didn't matter, right? Because he just got so much inherent lifesteal and miss percentage and all these other things that was going the way of the Broodmother that he could do something like that.
Yeah. What about that net swing as well? On 28 minutes, VP had an 18,258 net lead. By 53 minutes, so 25 minutes later, they were down by 15,200. I mean, what sort of swing's that?
I mean, I think the second swing is more indicative of how the game went, because the first one, it's kind of like a classic Alch game. You're going to shove out the lanes, you're an Alchemist, you're naturally going to get really far ahead in gold, but the second one matters a lot, because it means that even despite all that, the Ochre was still not winning the game, and that's the problem. Is he gave away,
but the PA was ahead of him at one point.
Yes, and that's the problem too. But he did give away 4 Aghanim's that don't add to his own net worth, and so that was like 12,000 gold that he gave away, and he still couldn't propel his team to the win. He's like force-feeding them items, and they still don't have enough to win that game.
Also on stats, it's worth mentioning, if only because it's just a standout stat. Obviously, the Alch was the highest net worth at the end of the game with 40,761. Not particularly impressive, but Solo 1,853. What a poor man.
Yep.
I mean, that's a rough game, right?
One of those Aghanim
you're having nothing in this game. You got 19 last hits. That's it. That's all you get. Nothing else in this game. Kuro, by contrast, 229.
Yeah, he shoved out the lanes at all times, and I mean the Wyvern in the laning phase was really rough. In the mid game, you started to question a little bit, but the overall game flow, it did so much. His Cold Embrace turned so many different fights for them. They couldn't go through it. They didn't have any of this big magic burst or anything like that. So for the most part, it was like this free invincibility for his team to be able to reset the fight.
How hard is it in those games? Both of you played in these kind of games, in the sense that so far ahead, you feel like you're in control, feel like you've won the lanes, feel like you've got the right matchups, and then suddenly you lose. How do you cope with that? How do you bounce back?
It's pretty rough because you're in this mentality that you're winning the entire time until you're not. And that in itself is like really hard to recover because you don't really know where things went wrong. Like for VP, it was a lot of tiny things that eventually added up, but those games kind of suck to lose because in Dota you get a little bit of leeway in games. Like everyone naturally messes up, it's just how the game works, but you're not able to point to like one specific one and say like, that really screwed that game up for us.
I think you just have to focus on like one thing that you can solve from that game and say like, okay, we did this one thing that wasn't very good. Like maybe we weren't grouped up enough. Maybe we should have listened to, you know, some person's call a little bit better, right? And that you just focus on like just that one small thing and be like, okay, we're gonna do that better for this next game. Because if you try and break apart, especially in the middle of this best of 3, you try and break apart all the things that went wrong in game 2, start assigning blame here and there, it's not gonna feel good going into game 3. Just remember that you did manage to whoop Liquid pretty hard in game number 1. You should have won game number 2. You should win game 3 as well.
Okay. Good mental positive attitude. We're into draft number 3. Expectations for this one, Will?
I thought that, if anything, Virtus.pro would have first 2 ban the Brood, but it doesn't seem like they're worried about it at all, and Liquid go back to their mainstay in the Venomancer. I'm really curious to see if Liquid just second picks that Brood again, because that would be really telling for me about where they find this hero's place.
Yeah, because it has traditionally been a 5th pick, auto-win kind of... I hate the phrase cheese, but it has been considered quite a cheesy pick at the end of it. It's kind of like, well, they can't counter it, and it's our 5th pick, and we kind of won the game. Now, moving it to position 2, that's basically saying, yeah, no, he can fit anywhere now, and we don't care about the counters.
It's no longer a routing hero.
Yeah.
It's just too strong at being able to fight. You can fit it into any lane with the item buildup that it has now. It's not focused on split pushing and trying to be able to take the tier 3s and Ramses while the enemy team is distracted. It's about being able to fight in the mid game, and that works really well to this meta.
Let's just see whether they do take it. Virtus.pro, of course, have got their pick first.
So they're not automatically picking up the Bane, and they go for the Ogre instead. What does Ogre give you that's so important?
Bloodlust.
Just it's a damage amplifier?
Yeah, because the thing about the Bane is like it's very good laning, but so is Ogre. And the best thing about that Ogre is like solo is probably just like the poorest 5 position. Like I don't know what the statistics are, but every game it feels like he just gets the rough end of things. They give him 0 farm, 19 CS in like an hour game.
Yeah.
Like, that's unheard of. I would just like sneak in and get like at least 2 more than that. But
steal a couple of camps.
I just brain stab something once in a while. That's how selfless he is. And if you're gonna play that kind of hero, why not be the most useless / useful version of yourself that you can be? I think
and if they target you, who cares?
Yeah,
it's an Ogre.
All right, so they are going to pick this Brood again.
Now, the problem is this Ogre gives you significantly worse disables. And we saw in some of these engagements, Bane's Fiend's Grip was pretty important to be able to control the Brood Mother. So, and I don't feel that Ogre is that much stronger against Brood Mother in the laning phase that it's going to be worth the trade-off here. So, some of this has got to come down to, obviously, their 3 poor picks where they're going to have this Bloodlust synergy with certain heroes. But for now, it still remains a bit of an enigma to me.
So a bit of classic PPD drafting here from Liquid. Just throwing the same thing, see if they can cope with it.
You could do something like a Mag this time around, or a Timber. Like you want something tanky, or you can just go farm and have like that cleave at all times. Trying to figure out like what direction they want to go, and I feel like I should have seen this just because they did ban Sven first phase, and almost nobody does that unless you're going to take something like that Brood.
Yeah.
You're representing that you're going to take the pick right there.
Yeah, they did in the second game as well.
So for Virtus.pro, I mean, you can still do some kind of mag setup. We saw it yesterday work with, was it Secrets lineup? or you can go for the option of just having a really tanky core that sits there. Cinder and I suggested Timberside yesterday, but we don't know how that goes.
Oh, Brewmaster. I've been kind of curious as to why teams haven't been picking up more Brewmaster, because I feel like it is a pretty strong hero right now. We've seen what S4 is capable of doing with the offlane Brewmaster. It's a great team fighter. It gives you some really solid disables that no other offlaner really can give you when you pop that ultimate. And it does really good damage. It's actually a heavy hitter. You don't necessarily need your ultimate. I think that's one of my favorite things, is that you look at it and you think it's like a Tidehunter and that it's an ulti-dependent hero. When it's on cooldown, he's significantly weaker, but it actually turns out Brewmaster is really good at being able to dish out damage as an initiator, and his other skill sets, such as his miss percentage chance from Junk and Haze, is quite good still. He could lane really well against the Broodmother, should they, or decently well, we'll say, if they actually get that matchup, though I'm sure they'll draft some more heroes. Last time VP had 2 different heroes that were good versus Broodmother in lane.
The Rubic is back for Liquid.
We're in some like weird Uncharted Waters thing, where Virtus.pro, I'm assuming that they knew that Liquid was going to take the Brood again.
If they didn't ban it first phase, and they didn't want to ban it first phase, I guess.
So I think they have a pretty good idea, or they should have at least discussed it, because it's a possibility, right? And that's what that time is used for. And Virtus.pro take the Troll. So I thought they were going to do something like the Mag Troll, but instead they just straight up take it.
It felt pretty bad watching the Alchemist, whose damage is very slow and kind of damage over time, not really direct damage very well, suffer against the Broodmother so badly. Troll is very much the opposite in that regard, in that he is very competent in being able to deal with the 1v1 that Broodmother presents, and he can just lay damage into the Brood, ideally get a stun, not let her get that lifesteal off.
Yeah, so Liquid need... They can take Beast, they can take Bat. They did lose with the Bat Rider, but it's nice to play against the Troll. I don't know how they feel about having that kind of matchup, the Veno. But if you take another core here, then you sort of reveal where the Veno is going to. And they still have room for GH's hero here too.
This does not seem like a good enough Rubic game to make it a 4 position like Secret would with Yamsor.
Yep.
Otherwise, I would suggest like Wyvern again for Liquid. But I think they want a better jumping hero like Sand King or Earth Spirit's out. Shaker's out. They're both out. So pretty much leaves Sand King, because Night Stalker's down as well. Oh, you know what I'd kind of like is, can Liquid support a Pugna here? Because it's good versus Enchantress and Troll. Decrepify as well as Life Drain is pretty potent against both those heroes. Terrorblade. They don't have a whole lot of clear for it yet, for the Terrorblade pushes. They just have Clap and Troll Whirling Axes.
Is the laning phase okay? TB and Rubic versus Brew?
Potential like aggro tri-lane Brew. Like they could do a pseudo aggro tri with Virtus.pro roaming their 2 supports into that bottom lane pretty heavily. Yeah, it's... Maybe Kunkka for additional teamfight power for Liquid. It's a 4 position. Combos with the Rubic.
I sort of think they need more instant catch.
Yeah.
So the
which would be go back to Sand King or Slardar.
So they have offlane Veno.
So what are we looking for here for Liquid? We're looking for a Kuroki hero?
No, we think a 4 position. We think it's going to be a GH like melee initiator.
Okay, you don't think GH takes the Rubic?
like, Clock is good versus Brewmaster, but I don't think the damage is good enough. I think you want a like harder initiation, not just hook shot.
You know what a hero I miss? Undying.
I miss that hero too. It was hilarious.
There used to be this like thing, this interaction between Undying and Brewmaster. They
do
Wyvern
take
game.
the Wyvern.
It was a really good Wyvern game. Like
Yeah.
you suggested.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
So that means they are going to be running 4-position like GH Rubic, which is not a great Rubic game. So they really don't have that that do something hero that we were talking about earlier.
It depends what he steals.
He's an instant. It's a really the instant lift is really nice.
They're not going to have that kind of like blink stun, you know, big team fighting ulti or something like that.
Relying heavily on the Brood and the Venom to do some damage. You know, get a TB as well. So draft done. Wrap it up for us, Cap.
Oh God, I lost track of all the heroes that were in the game. But
you've got a Terrorblade, a Brood, and a Venom all on the same team. How
you know,
hard can it be?
I'm actually feeling like it's going to be less about the draft for me here. Just looking back at this series, they won game number 1. I feel like they outplayed Team Liquid pretty well. They should have won game number 2.
Yep.
Seems like they had a drafting advantage from both of those games. I'm going to lead with VP for game 3.
Okay, well.
I think Liquid's going to be able to get it done.
Yeah.
I favor their team fight, and I think this Terrorblade is going to favor pretty well once he gets a Diffusal.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, gents. Let's head back to our commentary team for game number 3. This one with all the marbles on the line to find our first semi-finalist from Group B.
Thank you very much, Paul. And here we have it, the game that we've been waiting for. Game 3 of Team Liquid versus Virtus.pro. I'm ODPixel. I'll be joined, of course, once again by the wonderful Cinderin. We're seeing the drafts, a bit of a change up. In some sense, a bit of similarity as well. This Brood, once again, from Liquid. They rounded off a little bit differently with Miracle playing the Terrorblade, of course, this time. What are we thinking, though? Do you like VP's chances a little better this game? They were very quick on that 5th pick Necro.
I think they've had great drafts all 3 games. I think in game 2, I also favored their draft, but Liquid out-executed them. In this game, I have a similar gut feeling about it, but it really comes down to one of the weaknesses of VP's draft is they have pretty limited lockdown. I think the Brewmaster needs... Oh, wait a second, they found Matumba.
They did. They wrapped right round the actual smoker Team Liquid, so they open up straight away onto Matumba Man, and the rest of Liquid, they want to think about if they really want to come up these stairs into the hands of VP. They've got to get themselves out as well. They've got to be careful. Kuroki, he's going to try and fight. They're trying to fight here with this Metamorphosis. Is it going to be enough damage? They look towards Lil. Lil falling low. The heal coming out from the Death Pulse. It may be enough to get him out. No. Oh, the uphill miss. Can he get... Oh, the uphill miss again. Oh, not this time, though. Does finally fall. But they lose Miracle for that. That's Miracle down. 2 for 1. VP getting first blood, getting the carry. Mind Control will be able to steal the bounty rune.
He'll be in an awful position.
I mean, this, I don't know what lane he's choosing to play in this game.
Is he going to courier snipe now as well? Come on, man. Let's go.
Gotcha.
All right, doesn't look like it.
Overall, that
was a crazy start.
That was
I don't know what that was all about.
I think VP, they're going to be the ones happy with that, aren't they, for sure?
They should be. Yeah. I think they got the first blood, they got a secondary kill. Yep. Metamorphosis being on cooldown makes this Terrorblade very weak for the next minute and a half. So, good start for Virtus.pro once again. What I was getting at with their lineup is, I think Brewmaster is an integral part of their lineup in this game. If he doesn't get his ulti off, their control in teamfights is extremely limited. Then their only stun apart from that, unless you want to count Reaper's Scythe, is a Bash from Troll or a Fire Blast. So it's very unreliable for them to get good fights unless Brew has a good time, and therefore I think they have to make sure he gets off to a good start. And that's exactly what they're doing with Ench. He is helping Pasha this time, while they're playing the safe lane of Necro Ogre, which is a very strong lane against what they're facing. Terrorblade cannot do much to Necro in lane in an even
No, that looks like a
numbers
nasty
matchup.
lane for Liquid.
It really does. Yeah. I feel like this is a difficult lane to win for them.
I was going to say, I can't see this lane going anywhere close to how it went for Liquid with the PA last game.
No, I don't think so either. The way this lane's going to play out is that this Ogre and Necro will constantly push the lane, and Ogre will go and pull the big camp. And every time he tries to do it, GH has to contest like this, and then he will take an Ignite, and maybe Ramses can get in a hit or two. And then it comes down to how well they execute these moves. If they get a couple of those pulls off, they're going to win the lane. Oh, Matumba and Mitt putting on some pressure here. I think no one will be fine, though. And he has a Flask, so he's going to have to use that. And now Liquid have rotated down the 3rd hero. So they do want to secure Miracle this start, and try to get this pull
this.
for themselves.
They need this. I mean, we saw, you know, last game that they did a similar sort of move. They sort of sacked Mind Control's lane, which is going to be what happens again. We sort of saw this happen in game 2. He gets left alone. Lil immediately tries to prioritize rotating in on that Soul Venomancer lane.
10 for 6 against 0 for 0 CS top. Yeah, very fair.
Just remaster things.
Yep, here comes Ench. Hello. I got some creeps. Oh, Mind Control trying to juke. That did not work at all.
Where are you going?
He is actually just flat out locked. I'll tell you something.
This lane's going to go the same way as it did in game 2.
Playing Venomancer against this lane is just awful. You know.
I mean,
I'll
I'm
be
glad
honest,
you're playing Venomancer. I hope everything's awful for you.
That's pretty rude. Mind
pretty
Control's
rude.
he's a nice guy.
Oh, I mean, he is, isn't he?
He's just a boy playing to win, and he plays what it takes to win. He's not a malicious person. He's very friendly.
But he picks Venom.
Down-to-earth guy.
Well, actually,
no,
he
Kuro
picked
picks
Kuro.
Venom.
That's right. We're putting this one on Kuro.
So Kuro's a dick.
Kuro, what a guy.
Veno Brood first phase? Oh, come on, man.
Dire's top tower.
Yeah.
But these lanes, as we're saying, VP, they're going to have this good lane up top, for sure. Mind Control suffering. Bottom lane, how we say, well, as we said, Miracle, he's not killing people, but they are securing a really nice lane for it. Look at this CS, 19 for 6 on him compared to the 6 for 0 of Ramses.
Yeah, the tri-lane has changed the dynamic of that lane completely. Kuro coming down there is making it a much easier time. The 3-on-2 is hard. The 2-on-2 would have been very easy. And it's VP deciding to put their resources more toward getting Brewmaster a good start than securing their Necro. And I think in this game, with what I said earlier, I think it's the right approach. Like, Necro will catch up a bit later, but they need to get Brewmaster off to a good start.
Oh, I was waiting for the Hadouken.
Yeah, it came in. Got a couple of Broodlings there, I think, with Whirling X's. Oh, they're onto solo. He's level 1.
Immediate growth shroud from Ramses to make sure that he doesn't get initially slowed. He's still going to get caught out
he
by
did
the
hit.
telekinesis. Dragged back into the clutches of Miracle, and with that Metamorphosis damage, it's going to be an easy kill for the Terrorblade. This bottom lane, I mean, both side lanes, as we said. VP, the top lane's nice for them, but this bottom lane is seemingly infinitely nicer for Liquid, not only getting all the CS in the world, but getting free kills like that as well, very easily.
I think Ench may be lingering too long top. I think you go top, you pressure the Veno out of the lane, you kill him once like they did, and then you get out. Then you go bottom. And he's moving there now. I would have liked to see this 1 minute earlier, because I feel like the damage has already been done bottom, and now it's recovery time. They could have probably stayed afloat here for 1 minute ago. That Necro wouldn't have died. And if Ench comes in at the right time, they can counterplay and get their own kills. Now Lil's coming down. He's level 3, so this Ench with 2 creeps is stronger than the enemy 2 supports combined. And now he even has Medallion. He's going to bully them away and secure his Necro a much better time now. And I think this calls for a lane swap for Miracle. He cannot be here anymore. If Ench starts playing down here, he has to mirror and go top.
Mid lane. See what he can get done with this GH. Can't quite close the gap. Telekinesis won't be there. And as you say, bottom lane, it's all about how Miracle plays this and how carefully he keeps himself. Actually, the supports of VP, they're looking for an easier kill. They rotate straight up to the high ground, catching Kuro on his way back towards the lane. Do they quite have the damage, though? It doesn't look like they have. So he'll be able to get himself up to the high ground onto that cliff just in case.
Oh,
now they will indeed close back onto Miracle, coming round with the wrap in. And there is no save for him. They don't get Kuro, but they get something a lot bigger. And that was a little, didn't that feel a little awkward? I mean, Miracle knew they were coming from behind because of the attempt that was made on Kuro. Was there no way that he could have played his way out of that?
If you had a TP on him, I think he could have just TP'd out. Because both supports did show on the Kuro move. And he can get out. He actually chooses to come back bottom. This is really surprising to me that they're doing this. But they might feel like if Terrorblade goes top at this point, the Brewmaster has too big of an advantage because of levels and obviously the extreme annoyance with Drunken Haze.
Actually, it's not an easy lane for him. I'm sure he may not die in that top lane, but he's going to get less CS than he will down bottom. And he does also have Metamorphosis back up in less than 10 seconds, so maybe they want to try and do something.
If they want to make their own aggressive play, I can see it. I think it's debatable. I mean, at the same time, I don't think Terrorblade wants to play against this either. Good luck, Mind Control. Gotta need to TP out of this one. He's not trying. He did.
There's no time for that. It's such a tough. I mean, as you said, with the level deficiency as well. No,
he's level 4 against level 7 almost.
Yeah. It's not nice. This is going to happen. I mean, at this point, if you're Mind Control, you are dire side Veno. Do you just look to turn towards the jungle and stay away from the top lane? Well, it looks like the answer is no. He's going straight back up there.
I think he has to be there.
Okay. You have to have some sort of counter pressure for the Brew.
He has to be there and just push out this lane so they don't lose their tower. And if he keeps Brew in the lane for that reason, that's good. Okay. If he goes jungle, he lets Brewmaster take the tower and make any TP rotation he wants. And yeah, that's just not the way to play it. I'm positive that they need to have a hero in lane top. And I guess that's what Liquid are thinking here, is that, yeah, sure, we can put Terrorblade up there and then he's not facing the edge, but it might be even worse.
Yeah, he's just not going to get far.
So we park our sacrificial hero in this lane, and then he's just going to play it.
Oh, has the haste rune. So that sentry still down as well. So have to be very careful there about the spider rats.
Bottle troll, not the most common sight.
That's a pause from the admin.
Thanks, Daniel.
Oh,
shout out to Finol.
He got the XD.
Oh, that's when you know you fucked up, when you get the XD from no one.
Solo.
It's like a trade here.
Can the Miracle get anything more, though? That's the question. He's looking towards Lil. A little too slippery for Miracle. And in fact, the creep.
A lot of damage.
The Medallion.
A lot of damage.
Miracle's got to get out of there.
He's okay.
For now. And GH will return back to the lane alongside Kuro. Ramses got the phase boost now, of course, as well. So this makes it a little better for him. He's already starting to get some CS in this lane again, but still very much quite a difference.
Can he get this? Does he have Fate Ball? That's a yes.
That's a yes.
Nice kill.
GH took an ignite to the face, Solo just securing the space for the grabbing that bounty rune. Ramses just about to hit level 6. VP would love to get something done with that Reaper's Scythe. GH already being gone upon him. Ramses will pick up the 6 from that last creep. Heads over. Will he drop it down? Oh, doesn't even get the chance.
Come on, Solo. I almost feel bad. I love Ogre's kill lines. Love the hero in general.
So does. It's got to. I was going to say, so does the Solo. It must be what most played in pro games.
I think
overall time.
It might be, actually.
I think it might be.
It could be. I think his Disruptor has also been played a lot. I think it's still Disruptor would be my guess, because he's been playing Ogre the last year and a half or something, but before that, they didn't run it very much, I believe. But Ogre really became a big pick before TI6, I think, leading into TI6.
Okay, this is most in comparison with other pros, but...
Faith.
Actually, only 36.
I feel like Solo has played more than 36 Disruptor games.
No, that's pro Ogre.
Yeah, but I'm saying
you're saying
he's played more Disruptor.
I feel like he's played more than 36 Ogre games, but apparently not. Okay. Oh, we have it.
So that smoke from Liquid did not really bear any fruit whatsoever. It's just going to get stopped off. And did they at least get a ward out with it? That might have been a ward they just placed out of the smoke. It was not, so they didn't really accomplish much with that move. And they're still playing their Terrorblade down there. So again, VP in a pretty comfortable position in this early game. Oh, no one. He takes a lot of damage here.
He does, with that Deso freshly picked up by Matuma. They do have the mischance from the axes. Buying some time for no one. And he will... Oh! He's fine. Not high enough level yet on the Splinter Blast. VP will keep everyone alive. TP comes through from Pasha, has the Primal Split, and on that note, Liquid will retreat. But again, of course, as we saw there with the Deso, still another game, another good timing for the Matuma Brood to pick up that Desolator.
Absolutely.
As both him and no one, as we saw, pretty much just a trade-in farm. They were, of course, trading blows as well, bringing each other down low, but getting pretty much the same from that mid lane in terms of CS. Very, very close between the two of them at the moment, both sitting at the top of the graph.
And similar to last game, at very low support levels, once again.
It is.
We're 10 minutes in, Kuro's level 4, GH is level 4. Enchantress is 6, though, so this time Lil has made himself a much bigger gap than in the previous game, and I think Solo's Ogre.
This could be hard to do, yeah. I was gonna say, he's got the Sunder, and he'll take a free heal from that.
I think Posh is still happy with that outcome. He wants to force the Sunder so they can make a kill move soon.
Okay.
The next rotation top should be with Lil plus maybe the Ogre, and they try to kill this Terrorblade and get the tower. If Pasha would have got that split off before he got sundered, he would have committed for the kill. Reaper, didn't get the kill with Reaper. Still got the kill though. That's a full heal for Ramses.
And the pressure on this mid lane is, of course, going to get stepped up with that Desolator. Just putting some damage onto that tier 1 and trying to take that map control. And in this sort of game, you know, the Brood pick, even though it was early again, but without any sort of Alk Legion, I guess they've got the axes and the pulse. They do still have a bit of wave clear, but it definitely doesn't feel as sort of the, oh my goodness, VP are going to farm so much spiders this game.
Like, oh my goodness, Kuro's dead. And Mind Control's actually in a pretty bad spot as well. So is GH, but
They're retreating.
Miracle coming in from the bottom. He could. Does he have meta? He does have meta. Can't get Pasha here. He's going to TP out. Well, you know, stray Ogre finding the Spider Queen.
Radiant are scanning.
And they're going to go for the scan. Dust does connect, but...
Oh, it's a tricky kill, though.
He loses pathing. That's a really important impetus from Lil. This could be a kill.
Where are you going?
Slowed down, Axis. That's really, really nice play by
That is it's a really big kill as well.
Scan into Dust, into the impetus hitting just before he crossed over the tree line. Beautiful by Lil.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And this game,
Pretty even, though, once again.
Ramses picks up the hood first on the Necrophos.
Makes me happy. I feel like that's... See, today I think we've had 1 or 2 Necrophos picks that... maybe it's only one.
It was just a newbies game, wasn't it? Yeah.
He never got Hood. I think this is like the highest item value you can get on this hero. I think Hood and the Veil are the 2 best. And if Hood is any good in the game, I think it's your priority. It's like it makes your hero almost invulnerable. Like this is a really hard kill. Because now, when he pops this Hood, Venomancer doesn't deal much damage, the Rubic doesn't deal much damage. It's literally the Brood and the Terrorblade that need to kill him. But there's only 1 stun for them to prevent.
And of course,
it's only the lift.
And once he's got the Ghost Shroud out,
Exactly.
nothing's coming in from those.
Yep. So you're resistant to physical, you're resistant to magical, and you can frontline, and your team can play around you way easier because you can expose yourself to fighting and not be scared of going in.
And these are heroes that aren't going to have a diffusal blade anytime soon. I mean, does Terrorblade nowadays build a diffusal in his standard items? Or is that unlikely?
I think Miracle actually likes that build where he goes Dragonlance into Manta Diffusal, I think. He might go the Diffusal first in this game by necessity. It probably doesn't feel good. You want to have Manta against the Troll Blind, but he may be forced in this.
Trying to catch no one here in the mid lane. Telekinesis back, but nothing really to follow up in terms of control.
That really showcases the problem, right? Oh, my control's dead. Reaper. A little bit of a bonus. And that's a tower. So, my question is, how do Liquid take towers this game? If they don't bring Terrorblade and Brood onto the same lane, I think VP can just defend. Oh my god! Wait, he got blocked by the spiders.
He did.
So,
He still gets the kill, though.
that was a lot of damage.
Really nice heads-up play there from no one, just carrying around the dust. GH also in potential trouble, but he picks up a haste rune. Will save his life.
Great play by GH to spawn the haste rune.
That's a smart man.
So anyway, that was a fast kill. It's so weird when you look at this mid matchup and you're like, oh, this is a farmed Brood. And then once somebody actually hits him, he has nothing because he goes Deso Mask of Madness. Like, he's so fragile. It all depends on him being the one being aggressive. And I think this is a beautiful read from no one that he can just get a dust and solo kill him on the entrance. That's a very big kill.
Absolutely. It's just a hero you have to play around in a way that you don't have to play around any other sort of hero. It's very, very different in that sense. And yeah, no one is prepared, and he knows the strengths of Troll. Especially at this stage when he has the items he has. He's got Phase, Yasha, Mask of Madness, 1700 towards the BKB. He is in a fantastic position, and you can see that in the numbers. 8.3k net worth, and growing on Troll Warlord, 15 minutes in. And I think no one really, in all of the games that we've seen so far from VP at this LAN, has had very strong performances in the mid laners. I mean, it just did overall as well. A player that very rarely loses his lane, if ever. He always finds something good out of it.
No one is very, very mechanically gifted, especially in lane. His weakness, if I had to pick one, is probably his late game decision making, both in terms of when to go in and his itemization. You saw a bit of a glimpse of it last game with the Alchemist. I think he did not itemize correctly. I think sometimes he overestimated his real strength, but he played a beautiful lane in that game as well against the Broodmother. Did very, very well on Alk.
Oh, definitely. And I think that's why.
And that's why when VP win their games, if no one is rolling and they don't mess up in the mid-late game, they can be the best team in the world because they are very good at building these advantages and playing around them in that mid game. But if they make 1 or 2 oversteps and a little bit of mistakes, then they don't fall back on an as strong late game as Liquid have, in my opinion.
Oh, Solo.
It's dead.
Will indeed be a goner. That was a great impression. So.
Thanks.
So they... That's alright! Do they get a tower, though? Again, Liquid, they get a solo kill, but can they turn it into something meaningful? It looks like they will be pushing that bottom lane with Venom and Terrorblade, so... And at the same time, they're pushing mid, but once again, Matumba slowed down a lot here.
And with the dust out.
If he gets bashed, he's dead.
Where's the bash? Where's the bash?
He doesn't even need it.
There's the bash.
No, he didn't need it.
He got it.
Kuro comes in. He's too
we'll
late.
say he did need it to cover
This
your
is a
drops in.
very unusual Wyvern build, by the way.
What's he building this game?
3-1-1.
Oh, the skill build. Yeah, maxing out. Well, that's more of what the sort of the carry build, isn't it?
You mainly max Splinter Blast in every position, I think.
Even in the new offlane build,
I think so. I think he feels like he has to max Arctic Burn because he just doesn't get in close enough. He's too exposed, and he wants to hit these Brewmaster splits. Maybe he wants to get a hit on the Troll and a hit on the Necro, and he's just too exposed without it. But low-level Splinter Blast makes Wyvern a lot less scaling. Like it's hard to wave clear, so you don't get good farm. I don't know how much I like this, to be honest. I'm not sure how much value he's got out of this Arctic Burn so far, but it's slowing his own game down. He is, however, playing as a flat-out hard 5 Wyvern in this game because they have GH on the Rubic, and at least his secondary support has wave clear for him. But if you imagine GH is playing a non-wave clear support this game, and Wyvern doesn't max Splinter Blast, then none of the supports can push waves at all. And I think when you look at this dire lineup, it's actually very beneficial for them to have wave clear on supports. Brood wants to jungle some of the time. Terrorblade is pretty good at pushing waves when he's farmed, but right now he's not the fastest in the world. And Venom is similar, like a bit slow, but
I mean,
pretty good.
But then on the other side, could you look at it as in a sense where you are a Terrorblade, you're very fragile. Do you really want your team shoving all the lanes? Don't you want some of the lanes sort of on your, you want to keep them on your half of the map so you're a bit safer with the farm?
It's something you could be tempted to think, but the problem is when the waves are on your side, you don't have information. Okay. And the lack of information is more expensive than anything, because that is what puts you at risk of dying. And you need to push the waves out. That's just how Dota works right now. You have to push those waves out. Oh, nice deny on the rune by Kuro. Could lead to a kill.
I think it will.
Oh, that was beautiful. All right, that's why he maxed back.
Oh, no, sorry, it's a Necrophos.
90 chess by Kuro. Not enough dimensions, though.
Kuro will hold back the Brew for a little bit of time with the Winter's Curse. Space is there, though. No one. He's found himself Roshan. They get the Reaper Scythe kill onto Matuma. This is just a lot of good news for the side of Virtus.pro. They're going to get Kuro as well. He pops the Cold Embrace. It's not enough to keep him alive as the Primal Split chases him down. VP, a Roshan, and Aegis, 2 kills to boot. One of them being Matuma, the highest net worth on Liquid. Fantastic sequence of events there for Virtus.pro, and they're going to get a tower out of it as well, potentially.
Dire's middle tower
Most definitely. There's no way they can defend this. They can even go high ground, I think. They have the Aegis.
They've pretty much got Radiance. 100 gold, and Necrophos has got it.
tower has fallen.
Look at that. He's setting records left, right, and center.
This one is hard for Liquid, I think. This one feels
208 in CS. Woo.
This feels a lot harder than the last game to come back from, just because of how well all of the cores of VP are scaling in this one. Like, they're all having a great time. No one is very farmed. The Necrophos, like you said, almost has Radiance. Brewmaster has
that is a ridiculous amount of CS, isn't it? I mean, sure, there's spiders in the game, but still.
Bloodlust.
I guess so. That is insane. That's absolutely crazy. Look at the... Yeah, this is... Already 600 GP 19 minutes in, that's when you know that it's looking pretty good for VP. But then again, game 2 was looking pretty good for VP. It ended up going Liquid's way, so.
It was, but I think, how do I explain this? I feel like the last game was a little bit more slippery for them, where they could slip up and just lose control, because while Alchemist was having a great game, so was Miracle. But in this game, who is having a great game on Liquid? I don't think anyone is having a great game right now.
No.
Like,
I mean,
the Broodmother had a fast Deso. He had a fast Deso, and then he died 2 or 3 times. The Terrorblade, you look at the farm, it's good. It's not like they're not ahead of this Necrophos.
It takes so much time with the Terrorblade.
It's like, there's 2 cores ahead of them. Necrophos just got his recipe, and so he got a bump in the net worth. He's 9,600. These 2 heroes innately don't like facing Necro until they have the Diffusal Blade. So right now, the power spike is massively favoring Virtus.pro. So if they can take control of the map, it just seems really difficult for Liquid. Yeah, it's going to die. I'm pretty sure he's not getting out of this one. They're saving this ensnare. Very nicely played by Lil. Finally drops it now.
Maybe he can outplay.
He may have used it too early, actually. It's fine.
Okay.
He might have had to, because the creep was dropping too low. And GH, clutch, getting out.
Good job as well. Very close to having that Blink Dagger, so losing any gold at this stage would be
important to survive that one.
Yeah.
Kuro, not going to get spotted by Ramses. It is nighttime, so they do not have that vision. He's going to farm up the Plague Wards, though. And Necro loves farming up Plague Wards. Gives him stacks of his Death Pulse, so doesn't really take any damage doing it.
The Plague Wards
and
do
VP
nothing.
will push high ground. Okay, so this is what VP need to be careful with on this play. If they do want to push high ground just flat out right now, they need to not get cursed next to Troll. They cannot keep Necro next to Troll. If he gets cursed, he will die to Troll alone, almost. And they need to not position their heroes in a way such that they can get like 3 or 4 hero reflection, and then Venomancer can force step in and use his ulti. they can prevent that. This is a possible play. But at the same time, it's just a lot safer to maybe go and clear up the last tower first and then think over what your next move is.
Yeah, definitely something to think about. Well, the fact that that Radiance can be used against them with a reflection, which is always nice in the team fights. If, of course, as you say, Miracle can get in position to do something big with that spell. At the moment, just aggressively farming over VP's half of the map, just as far away as he can be from this push from VP, but he may have to come home, or at least do something to sort of offset how much VP are achieving from this push, as no one just stands his ground with the Bloodlust. Moving on to the tier 3, Pash is in, he's ready to rock and roll with the Primal Split, looking for Mind Control will be forced back rather deep. He's behind the tier 4s and will be ignored, but this is just space being created. The fortification's been popped, they continue to play with Mind Control, trying to keep him away from getting involved in this fight. And I think they'll be happy to. No one. He wants to commit. He knows there's no fortification. Pops the BKB. Now he respects the fact the Miracle's there. Has got the Terrorblade Metamorphosis. They have the Curse onto Solo. It's enough damage to bring down Ramses. Solo should be dead as well. His VP will pay for that. And I think you're going to say it's an aren't you? That BKB and commitment for the Rex, a little over the top. And unnecessary.
I was not feeling that play. He has like 20% HP, pops his BKB, and he has to run away afterwards anyway. So
I mean, he did have 30. He had the Aegis still.
I know, but then you let the Aegis run, right? Okay. And then you BKB your second life. But basically, when they commit their Primal Split like that to get the tower, that's a fine play. But then you've got to get out when that Primal Split is out. You've just used your biggest and most important spell to get a tower. Good enough, get away. But instead, VP overstay their welcome, give away a couple kills. The kill on Necro is pretty big. And now the question is, can they push again? If they have to wait for another Aegis, this Terrorblade will be getting an item. And we're talking a lot about the economy in this game and the gold favoring VP, but Terrorblade is one of those heroes that's tricky because when your enemies get stronger, so do you.
Bottom. I mean, GH, he's playing around with this. He's going to go for the TP out with the bash.
First hit bash.
Of course.
Well played.
Of course it's there.
Well played himself there. But this, okay, so Troll went for Diffusal now. This reflection is a problem. And as much as no one keeps scaling, he scales the reflection and has to be very careful with this. So even a 9k lead, they can get destroyed in a team fight with bad positioning or bad decision making. They've got to be careful to keep things under control. But I still am favoring VP very much in this game, more than in the last one, just because it's a 9k gold lead and it's a more organic lead, if you can say that, because it's not an Alchemist inflated game. This is a strong 9k lead compared to the 9k they had last game.
Yeah, Miracle indeed is going for the build that you stated, the one that you were aware that he does. Indeed, just
Diffusal.
Yeah, and Diffusal, he's getting there. He's about 2/3 of the way through it. So it'll be there sooner than later, and should have it by the time that VP go for their next aggressive play. I mean, VP as well, as you say, with this lead, do you imagine we are going to see them play it safe, wait for the next Roshan, then go for it again with the Aegis, or do they go for it now?
I think they probably should wait for the next Aegis. They can try to poke this bottom lane with a Troll ult BKB and the Bruce Split. If they get a pick beforehand, it's obviously great. That is a good kill. He has buyback. Is there going to be a Cyclone on this? Oh, we got him!
They got him!
That was 0.1.
That was 0.05
even.
Yes.
That was so close, wow.
Very good grab for VP to find outside of the base.
Still, they took a lot of damage from that. That's the Veil Poison Nova, so Ramses has to heal them up.
Can they force a buyback out?
Oh, wait, what is Ogre dying to? He almost died. Kuro is trying to intimidate a bit here. Needs to not die, though.
Actually, jumps in. Kuro does have the cold embrace.
They have Reaper. He's dead.
It's indeed going to be Kuro down for 50. He himself does not have buyback. There's the buyback coming out from Mind Control, but the bottom rack's already in trouble. No one focusing through. Here comes a Reflection, starting to push VP back, and they do respect it. They will back up straight away. They won't stick around for that Rax for now. They're going to be very careful how they come back in. As well, knowing that Miracle is out with the Metamorphosis. They don't want to mess. And they get the buyback out. They're not looking to make the same mistake that they made before, and they won't stick around for longer than need be. But it does mean they don't get those racks.
I think VP want to push right away when they get split again. Then they just go, because I believe there was a glyph expended there, and the racks got low, and a buyback. That was a pretty big commitment from Liquid. Actually, the glyph was on cooldown.
The glyph was still on cooldown. The glyph was still, yeah.
So they will have that. Okay. It's tough to say, really.
I mean, I think
they know that Roshan is spawning soon, so
Yes.
it's about whether they want to take the risk of pushing with their next immediate split instead of saving it for a potential Rosh. Because there's obviously that 3-minute spawn window, and they have Primal Split in 20 seconds. So realistically, if they go right now, it's a pretty good timing to go. Whereas they might be waiting around for 3 minutes for that Rosh, and that is probably going to be a BKB for Brood and another item for Terrorblade.
Sure.
So it's like a delicate balance right now, but they're still getting very good farm.
I think one thing that's been quite impressive from VP though this game is the way that they are playing around the Brood this time around. You know, this is not a free game for Matuma in the sense that he's getting all the farm in the world. Of course, he's a Brood. Eventually, he will find that farm. But they've killed him 6 times. They've managed to catch him out of position. They've read the way he's been playing the game, and they've punished it.
He got the link off just before he got Radiance burned. Speaking of Radiance burn, thanks for the spiders, Matuma. Hello. That's 200 gold. Actually, more probably. That was like 400 gold.
It's a lot of spiders dying this game as well. Look at that.
70 for Troll.
That is a lot of spiders fed. And to a hero that's sure you have ways of clearing them with the axes, but you don't expect that many spiders to die to a troll.
That was like 7% of his net worth. That's actually, that's a criminally high amount.
And we've got it at
13. 13, that was pretty close.
Yeah.
Enchant onto Matumba. He still doesn't have the BKB, so can't break out of this one. He can run away though. No dust. And Kuro is on backup, so Rosh with an early spawn here. This should be a VP Rosh if they go and find it right now. GH with the
I like that as well. Ramses, sort of worrying me. He did have the BKB queued up, but he's changed it for the Lincolns, and I think Lincolns is just so much better to have on this hero, isn't it? If you're getting the BKB, it's just never really an item that you want to buy on an Necrophos.
He's just worried about getting cursed next to Troll. That's got to be it. But I would also like Shiva in this game. I think it's a very strong choice when you're playing against Terrorblade. Slow up all the illusions, slow up the Brood attack speed, get in their faces and use your Ghost Shroud. But Lincoln's is definitely a good choice as well. I feel like Ramses is one of the best cores at itemizing. I think most of the time he makes very good decisions.
Yes, definitely. Definitely, always impressive.
So I'm not questioning the Lincolns against what he's facing.
No,
I don't think it was an easy choice for him. I think he's had multiple items up in the air here.
I mean, yeah, Sunder and the curse on himself, of course, are no laughing matter.
Yeah, Sunder as well. Absolutely. Didn't even mention that one. That's a bit too cute, GH.
We'll be punished for that. Poking at VP. Miracle's keeping some good split push pressure on, though, with the illusions. As we can see, this top tier 2 nearly falling. Next in the lineup for his items will be the Skadi. Lil, maybe thinking about hunting him out, but Miracle's already out there with the TP. And his farm's still in a pretty good place in comparison to Ramses. Obviously, as we've been saying, the man stealing the show is no one, who's 604, a clear 5k against ahead of both carries in this game. This is just an incredibly farm troll warlord.
Oh,
I mean,
that's an incredibly dead mind control. Oh, they wasted Sunder too.
Miracle has to back up.
Wait, who did he sunder? He sundered someone else. He was trying to save mind control, but cast it on an enemy, so not available. This lane.
I mean, this is mind control down for a minute. He has no buyback. That will be a clean rack for Virtus.pro down bottom. 20k gold lead now. I mean, we saw them get a lead and
oh, Kuro's dying? Hello? What? 20 HP. He needed one more hit from the Fire Burling. Solo being Ogre.
I mean, this
hero is so funny.
This game 3 is in. Do you see Liquid turning this around?
Did he steal Bruce Split on Rubic? Did I see it? That?
He did.
Oh, that's big. I think this is Liquid's moment of opportunity. They have to use this. BKB timing, surprise Bruce Split if they didn't see that being stolen. Can potentially get a Cyclone on the Necro. Bruce Split is actually one of the best counters to Necro in the game, as we're going to see. Let's have a look at the Sunder now. Oh, he actually is. This is past that Sunder point, so just getting the Rex here, keeping him away. But Bruce Split is really good against the Necrophos because you can dispel Ghost Shroud with the Storm Panda.
So that's true, yeah. I mean, that dispel is ridiculously powerful.
Even with the Lincolns now.
Oh, no, what?
All right, he's committing for it.
Oh, and he's got it. I mean, this troll warlord, no one. One of the best troll games I've seen in a while from anyone.
He is so farmed. Oh my goodness. He's closing in his 25 as well.
Here we go.
GH. And there's the split.
Now got that primal split. Let's see it go to use. Ramses
He did dispel it, but Ramses forced staff.
They've got the follow-up stun. Do they have the damage? Good reflection from Miracle. Moving in with the Metamorphosis. Pasha comes in with the clap. Him himself has the original primal split. Turns towards Matuma Man. Dust is out from as well from Lil. They got the vision onto Matuma, but they don't quite have the damage. They have to get out of there. With Ramses down for a minute, the rest of VP, they've got to be very careful about trying to take this fight. No one is around.
Oh, perfect whirling axis. He caught Matuma Man on the high ground.
And they've got the curse as well to buy time to set up onto Lil.
That was a Terrorblade buyback. Or sorry, yeah, Terrorblade buyback. It's pretty big, but it does cost VP their Radiance Necro.
They're big
I don't know
kills.
why I mentioned his Radiance. That's completely irrelevant for that, but he died.
But it does, as you say, it
It's an
slows down
expensive
Miracle on his iron progression, which is certainly starting to get hurt.
There were a couple of plays in that fight that I feel like are worth highlighting. I think GH's engage was really good. He blink, broke the Lincolns, lifted, tossed him in, brew split, dispelled the Ghost Shroud, and that's why Ramses got killed off eventually. At the same time, the brew split from the actual brew, the dispel of that just kills the Terrorblade illusions as well. We haven't really mentioned that in this game.
Okay.
And that dispel, I think Miracle had like 3 illusions out. He had 2 mantas and 1 Conjure Image, and they both, all 3 of them just insta-died to that AoE dispel from brew. So keep an eye out for that.
You're right. That is an interaction. We don't really see Brewmaster versus Terrorblade every day, but
nope.
Yeah.
The Terrorblade illusions need to be, I'm not sure exactly how much health Terrorblade has to have before the illusions don't die to that, but I think about 3k.
I mean, I was going to say, but even then, they're going to be incredibly low.
They're going to be low,
you
for sure.
You have to have a lot of stats. Maybe after the Skadi, you're close to keeping them alive, but I don't even know if the Skadi will be enough.
So it's go time again for VP. And Liquid are on the high ground, 35 seconds on Metamorphosis currently. Ramses leading the charge, feeling confident. And Brew Split is now available. So we're probably going to see Pasha just blink in and split, and Troll will go to work on the tower.
Yeah,
they can Cyclone up the Broodmother or the Terrorblade. Should be able to get the tower, but they might not be happy with that. Like, that might not be good enough for them.
What are you taking
Aegis
on?
out. Okay, that's why they didn't go.
But he's got the Lincolns ready to swap to the slot. What is he taking at 25? Does he take the Magic Resist or the Whirling Axes? As we see, the Whirling Axes have done a lot this game. Having that reduced cooldown.
He took the Magic Resist.
All right. I mean, it makes sense. Like, he does want to be the one on the front line, not dying.
The thing is, you have 1 BKB, right? And during that BKB, well, the Magic Resistance doesn't really matter either, does it? But he's expecting to go in, pop all his stuff, take 1 good fight, and then get out. But
in the game.
Yeah, it's pretty debatable. I don't know. Maybe the Whirling Axis would have been better this game. It's very nice against Terrorblade, for sure, until he gets MKB.
Of course, just using the primal split here because it was about to slip out away from him. Might as well get a use out of it.
Yeah.
Before it goes.
Just pushing the wave a little bit.
Yeah.
And Lil has very quietly just got really good farm in this game with Edge. He's actually overtaken the Venomancer as well. So ahead of one of the enemy cores on that position 4. Here comes no one. That didn't really yield anything.
But it gets them.
It got a glyph.
It gets the glyph out.
And Brewmaster is dealing damage. Oh, he's dealing a lot of damage. This Earth Brew.
But he's got the AC as well now.
Yeah. Deals a lot of tower damage with Demolish. Has got the Cyclone off on the Brood and will get out. So this is a moment of opportunity for Liquid for like a minute until this Brew Split is up. If they want to make a move, they can try it. They know BKB is on cooldown for Troll, and
they're gonna do it.
Insta-go.
You called it.
It's kind of the play they have to make. Their backs are against the wall. They can't just let this happen again. Then they lose 2 tier 3s.
I don't know if did that observable board catch a bit of it that they got down in mid?
Don't think.
Because I think some of them were outside of the base when they smoked, but
they just pinged mind control. They saw him break smoke to hit the creep wave, so this move is not working. So Liquid's job with this smoke now is to get good wards out and try to set up a foundation to take a fight at Roche, because it should be VP's next objective to go for that next Roshan again. And if Liquid lose that fight, they probably lose the game. They just expended their glyph, so that's on a long cooldown, and Brewmaster can use Split again. That's a guaranteed tower, probably some Rax damage, and if the Troll gets to hit at the same time, you know how it goes.
Miracle's still not quite having his Skadi. He's close, about 1,000 gold, and it will be there. Actually, sorry, about 2,000 gold still.
Yeah.
That he's missing out on, so...
He lost a lot of progression from the buyback.
Yeah. Still feeling the effects of that knockback. But they can hold, and they can wave clear at this stage of the game. And as we're seeing, the high ground pushes aren't super easy for VP. They do have to sort of get these aggressive jumps off successfully, as you say. If they can eliminate someone with the primal split from Pasha, then it becomes a lot easier breaking the high ground. But as it is, Liquid doing a good job of of holding VP at bay despite being 18k in deficit.
So Liquid Smoke didn't work. They got a ward out. It's something. But they have one more left on Kuro. And they still have to have this Roshan in the back of their minds. I don't think it's going to work again if they let an Aegis and a Cheese go the way of VP. They have to try and take this fight. But it's really difficult. VP, they have to assume that VP will have some sort of vision in the area, which they actually don't right now. A bit surprising to me that VP haven't covered that area at all. They've placed them even deeper in. And this could give no one an opportunity. All right, he's just going to... Ah, Kuro misclicked the ward, I think. He wanted that on the high ground. Didn't matter, though. Got dewarded anyway. And now Liquid are trying to move. Well played again. Move in. They're just going to farm a bit. This is going to be relatively quiet until Roche. Nobody wants to engage into this unless no one is completely crazy. Oh, okay. Kill's a kill, right? Didn't use a BKB there either. Just the Battle Trance. And Liquid do manage to get a D-ward up there, but it cost them the Wyvern.
On that note, they are ready to try and push in. They know that there's one man down.
Oh, I don't think this is the time you want to go.
No?
I think they could have waited just a little bit for the Aegis. Like that. Now they're just feeding away a Brew Split up here, more or less. Maybe they don't give a damn. Apparently, they got the tower. So the reason I'm concerned about this for VP, they're getting some really good damage into the
They're
Rax.
getting a lot of damage onto this Rax.
Now they're splitting back in toward mid. They are not getting the Rax though. And
ooh, that quick blink.
Clutch blink.
Oh, he's gonna get out. Oh.
Okay.
Pasha.
So I think that highlighted what could have definitely gone wrong here.
Yes, if he slipped
up there. He could have been caught and died.
Yeah.
And now that their abilities are down, if Meta wasn't popped there by Miracle, they might not have been able to get this Roche safely. But I think VP will feel pretty safe about taking this with Metamorphosis on cooldown. And now the Glyph is still on cooldown as well, so the next split will go. Okay. I was just uncertain. I feel like that's one of those moments where VP sometimes overstep and it's difficult.
And it could have been punished.
And it could have
backfired.
It could have backfired, exactly. It could have backfired, but they kept it under control. They didn't get too greedy, you know? Troll hit what he could, Brew hit what he could. They didn't fully commit.
Oh, Ramses, he wants that kill.
If they fully committed on that, that could have gone really bad. But they did a good job. Oh, is that Stolen Reaper?
Oh, I think it is.
Oh, hey. Not bad.
Well, you know what the strat is now, isn't it? You go in, you feed your life away as the Terrorblade, you Sunder, you Reapers, you win the game.
That is a very likely play to have.
If he just buys an armlet, leaves it on active, and then goes for the Sunder Reaper.
Okay, I think that's unlikely to happen. But the first part of the play is definitely a possibility. If they communicate it well, that is an option that they do have. Oh, they got the Brewmaster.
Oh, do they have the damage? It's close. It's enough with the Soul Burn of the Orchid. They'll take down Pasha. Now they move towards mid, see if they can get some more out of this. They've got their eyes on no one. No one forced back, turning towards Man, pops the BKB. Miracle on the front lines, he's in a lot of trouble, but he'll be forced back, Cold Embrace. Miracle will be fine for now. No one falling low, Liquid. Maybe seeing if they can catch anyone else on the retreat of this, but again, these are the sort of defenses that we saw in Game 2, where it's good news for Liquid. They push VP back, they get themselves a key kill out of it as well.
I don't think he was ready for that Reaper Scythe. I don't think he knew that GH stole it on the Brewmaster. So they get a little bit of a pick there. It was only one kill though. The tier 3 in mid is now down as well. So 2 exposed lanes of barracks. Glyph is ready for Liquid, but the moment that Glyph goes on cooldown, it's really dangerous.
It will dispel the smoke. They'll come hunting for him.
I'm Ogre.
Oh, he's out of there.
Yep. Oh wait, Ramses. Force F.
Completed Hurricane Pike as well. So, oh, Miracle has to be careful. He does have Sunder. Won't need it, no one won't commit. These illusions causing quite the issue for him. They're actually going to look about toying with him as they pop the Lincolns. VP are there in full force on the mid lane. Liquid have to be careful how they take these fights, especially outside of the base.
They're just buying time for the Brewmaster to respawn. I think VP would have been way more kill hungry there if Pasha was alive.
Look at Matumaman's position. He could come in and try and catch out with the Diffuser Blade.
It's a hard kill.
There we go, GH straight in. They get the catch. Have they got the damage? Ramses gets ripped through, gets the BKB off. It doesn't matter. The physical from Miracle's too much. Ramses is gone for 80 seconds, and Liquid aren't done. Winter's Curse to hold Lil in place. They'll take down Solo. He's not taking any damage whilst he's in range of it, but finally goes. They get another use out of the Reaper's Cyphers. GH comes in with the culling blow to take down the Enchantress, and VP lose 3. This is is looking spooky. We're starting to see some of the issues that the VP had in Game 2 coming through again here in Game 3. Despite this massive lead, some misplays that are costing them heavily.
This is the thing, when you're playing against one of the best teams in the world, or in this case, the best team in the world, you can't slip up. Like, you need to stay focused the whole game, and it's really exhausting and it's stressful. But when they slip like that, Liquid pounds on that. They saw Brewmaster just spawn.
Mid lane.
Necro
No one.
Yeah, he's trying to get something done here.
He's trying. The top lane as well.
The reason this is awful for them is that Brewmaster isn't next to the Necro, so they're actually not fighting ready. And Liquid identify that and just immediately go for it.
Can he get the racks? He really wants to. He's going to have to think about running.
Got
Does
it,
manage
Glyph.
to get the glyph out, indeed. And he's still toying around with this. Mind control, looking for the chase down onto no one. Is he going to be able to blink out? He should be fine with the blink if he can. Oh, yep, there we go. He's fine. Oh, GH, trying for the hunt.
Oh my god.
He's so good at that passion. He's ready with the blink each and every time as the primal split ends.
I want to commend VP on that play, though. That was really beautiful. How
they redeemed themselves from that little.
They managed to avoid losing barracks and just buy a lot of space after a really unnecessary play from Ramses, just being alone in middle without any coverage, no Brewmaster around, and just getting caught out and killed. They have to pay respect to their opponents. They have to know that Liquid will try to make these aggressive moves even when they're behind. It's their way back into the game. And currently, again, Ramses is... this time he's not as far up, but he's still a little bit alone and will start playing a bit more defensively. They're going to see Pasha with Kuro as well. And VP did force a glyph, and that is important.
That is the bit, because we've seen, you know, if Pasha or no one can get in position on these racks, they bring them down very quickly, both of these cores.
If VP get to the Dire base now, they get a lane, I think. The challenge for them is to get there now. Oh, that's not a good blink. I found the ward, though. A bit of spiders, no. And this time VP are in a better position. They're more grouped up. Better grouped up this time around. But no waves in Liquid base. Keep it in mind. They keep pushing this out. Terrorblade going to bottom. They send Illusions out mid. Top wave is already pushed, so they don't need to worry about it. Aegis is currently expiring for Troll. And that could be another moment of opportunity gone. I still think VP should try for a push without Aegis now.
I mean,
now that Glyph is down and there's 2 exposed lanes.
I don't know, man. He's pretty much got a completed butterfly on Terrorblade. You know, Miracle's getting to the point now where he is a huge threat in terms of damage output.
The thing is, man, I don't think it's going to get easier. Brewmaster's going to start falling off. Terrorblade is reaching point of critical mass.
That's true.
They have built all the advantages they need with these exposed barracks, with the glyph on cooldown. They just need one wave to reach base and smoke on it.
The engine can scale a little bit more.
Yeah, there we go. This is smoke.
Let's see what they do here. That's some good cooldown efficiency from that Midas.
Oh, they seemed...
GH, he's got the primal split again. He's ready to lead in onto Solo. No one trying to get his way.
Damage?
Yeah, Miracle's got a DD. You got to be careful, son. They pop the diffuser blade down. Miracle forced back. Now he turns with the Skadi. The control's there onto no one, bringing him down low. Turns towards Solo. There's a lot of punch coming out from this TB, and Solo will fall. Miracle, they've claimed 2. They do lose the Matuma Man Brood. Can they kill Miracle? This is the big kill that VP absolutely need.
He has Sunder. It's broken. Necro's broken.
See if they can finish this off. Miracle low, forced up, jump forward here from no one. Kuro, oh no! He's under Kuro!
Wait, what?
That was not the plan. He wanted to get the full health. It doesn't look like it will matter, or maybe it will. And Pasha's coming in with a wraparound. Kuro's gone. Miracle now in trouble. Pasha's hunting for him. The buyback's coming out. They know they have to keep Miracle alive. He does not have money for buyback. He will be fine there, but a bit of a blunder this time coming out on Liquid's side. He needs to make sure the Sun does the right target.
But Troll bought back as well. If Liquid find an opening with this just newly purchased Hex, they could win the game right here with the Troll kill. VP, man, they're standing so aggressive. Like starting to farm those creeps at that moment is like the most cocky thing I've seen all game. Like,
I mean, that's the VP we know.
Yeah.
You know, we wouldn't have any other way.
They needed to get back right away.
Miracle. Who's going to make the jump? As you said, at this stage of the game, as it normally does go, 45+ minutes in, it's all about these buybacks and their availabilities.
Oh, they're trying to hit on
Ramses. Pasha's going to jump in on the back with the BKB looking for Miracle. Mid lane, back towards Ramses. He's falling low. The BKB not helping him at all against Matuma Man's right click. Solo's down. Can they chase for more? They're looking for Ramses. There's the chase. They have the diffuser blade. GH will look for the grab, but again, the stolen primal split. He's using it to move in for more. No one's trying to figure it out. Miracle fully low. Miracle, he's gone. Miracle's down. No buyback available for 100 seconds. Can they get anything more out of this? Mind control drops the Poison Nova, but he's out as well. 3 heroes down on Liquid without buyback. And this Rubic may just be about to join them. He has the blink. This is wasting time.
Yeah, it really is.
If GH can continue to do this, this will buy crucial time for Liquid to come back in the game.
Just another 70 seconds, GH.
Keep it going, boy.
Come on, GH. 60 to go.
Oh, he's down. He himself has buyback. Matuma still alive in the mid lane, eyeing up Lil. But look at this push. Ramses straight away down the mid. The TP's coming through. VP ready to try and clean up the base. With no Terrorblade or Venom for over a minute. This may even just be game over. VP moving towards the top racks. They'll take it. They'll get the Megas. I think at this point they realize that this Terrorblade does not have money for buyback. He's not coming back into this game before it finishes by the looks of it as the tier 4s start to fall. GH to fall as well. And it is indeed game over. GG is called. Virtus.pro take the series 2-1 against Team Liquid. And some very, very impressive performances from them today. Even in the game that they threw away, it should have been their game to win in the way that they played overall. They did slip up. They paid the price, losing game 2 to Liquid. But game 3, back on form. And despite, again, a few errors, overall, very impressive performance to see a team pull out against a TI winning team.
Absolutely. I think VP could have kept their composure a bit better, but in all 3 games, they're definitely showing a lot of prowess in the first 15-20 minutes, and it's just about converting it into a better, stronger mid-late game. This time around, no one had that clutch catch in the end on the Terrorblade, which ends the game, but it still looks scary at one point, man. Liquid never count them out. Even when they're 20k behind, they can pull the comeback. But this time, VP were a bit too good and a bit too far ahead.
Absolutely, and always nice to see the teams giving the smack talk, being able to back it up with some top-level plays. Virtus.pro knocking down your TI winning team, Team Liquid. 2-1 for the side of VP. A lot of excitement, I'm sure, from the fans at home. We'll head over to a break, and then we'll be back for some post-game analysis and one more series today. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. It's the ESL Hamburg Major.
I'm here with Lil from Virtus.pro. Lil, it's been a while, but top 6 TI. Can you tell me a little bit what happened with Virtus.pro after the month after TI?
We had a rest, and that's all. And then we, like after a month of rest, we played some officials in internet, and then we went to the bootcamp, and we practiced a lot there, and now we're here.
All right, so for this event, this is your first big event of the season. How specifically did you practice for this one?
Not like something very special, because same patch, and just there were some little fixes, but nothing serious. Just played a lot, and that's all.
Did you look a lot at the 2 events before this to try and see what other people were doing and try to practice that for yourself?
Actually not. That was there were like weak teams, so the only team, only 2 teams what we can watch is Mineski and maybe Liquid. Liquid and maybe Mineski, but I think they were not good performances, because it's first tournaments after the break after TI, so I don't think people can play super good there.
Okay, and you expressed on Twitter that you are slightly worried that perhaps supports can get the MVP vote for ESL Hamburg here. So this is your time.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do to make people vote for you?
Okay, I won't feed. I will place good opses and kill couriers. Maybe some frags, and I think it's not about MVP, which. Support is a role when you have to like sacrifice yourself for your core's happiness. So it's very hard to make yourself MVP. So I have no idea. I think my captain will pick something cool heroes to make like highlights, maybe Rubic or Shaker or something. Because now I played Bounty Hunter, and it's pretty hard to become MVP.
Well, your role is to make other people shine,
yeah.
But in that you are the most valuable player, of course.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, good luck. I hope you do well on that one, and good luck in the tournament.
Thank you.
I still be